Running back Vince Workman came to Green Bay as a fifth-round draft pick out of Ohio State in 1989. A rare good year in those days for the Packers.
You know, I tell people all the time, I was very fortunate to play in two of the greatest rivalries of all time in football. You know, being at Ohio State, playing against Michigan, then you come to Green Bay and you play against the Bears. So you got two of the best rivalries, one of the best rivalries in college football and the longest and best rivalry in pro football. So I was very fortunate to be part of those two rivalries.
Workman's efforts in the 1989 matchup against the Bears to convert a fourth down attempt sometimes gets lost in history. But Magic's pass to Sterling doesn't happen without that conversion. I want to ask you about your rookie year.
Okay.
Bears and Packers here at Lambeau Field. Don Majkowski, you're a rookie on this team,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Talk about that game. What was that like?
Well, you know, I played primarily special teams as a rookie. We had some, veteran running backs that are pretty good that are ahead of me. But on that last drive, a lot of people don't realize or don't remember, but obviously not because I was a rookie. I remember I wasn't in the game anymore, so I'm sitting on the sideline. I done already untied my shoes. My shoulder pads are unhooked. I had my cleats taped. I cut the tape off. And then there was a 4th down and 2 play. And Willie Pete, the running back coach, called me to go in the game. And I'm looking like, are you serious? I'm looking around like, no, he's joking. He still made on the 4th down on that drive. And so I go in thinking they're not going to give me the ball. Why? My shoulder pads aren't even hooked up. So they call it a dive play. So it was just 4th down, had to get the first down. So I got the ball, I got 3 yards, didn't even try to run anymore. I just went down just because I didn't have no shoes tied, I didn't have my shoulder pads tied, and I just was just get the first down, just get the first down. So that's my story on that drive. But then when we ended up scoring a touchdown, and it took forever for the instant replay to go through.
All right, what was the feeling on the sideline? Majkowski approaching the line of scrimmage. I mean, he's got the ball in his hand. At the last second, he sees Sterling Sharp uncover in the south end zone. He fires a dart. Touchdown. What was your feeling? What the feeling of you and your teammates on the sidelines?
I was just like anybody. I went nuts. I was going crazy, jumping up and down, and everybody's hugging each other and things like that. And then, when they said, they got to review it, and everybody's holding their breath. Then after the announcement, after, the famous words, after further review, we all went nuts.
Wow.
Oh, yes. It was a great feeling.
And the debate continues. Was he over the line or not?
Oh, yes. I see some of those former Bears every once in a while, and they still complain about that play.
Dave Duerson, the great Bears safety, had a really great comment after that game. He said, whether Majkowski was over the line or not, we left Sterling Sharp open.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that.
But Sterling got open a lot.
Yes.
He got open a lot.
Did. That was an interesting year. I mean, here you're a rookie, and this is the cardiac pack under Don Majkowski. What was that season like?
For me, being a rookie, it was exciting. We had my first year in the NFL, didn't really know what to expect. We had a lot of great players on our team, on offense and defense. We had a lot of close games, those games where we did come back, so it was an exciting season. And I look back on it, I was just fortunate to be part of it. Like I say, I played mostly just special teams, didn't get a lot of offensive play, but I still got a chance to be part of a great season.
Yeah, you still picked up the 4th down that kept that drive alive. Otherwise, Majkowski, there's no controversy.
Oh, yeah.
That was just an amazing season. And they actually took instant replay out of the game for a couple of years after that.
Yes,
it was
yes,
amazing.
They did. Yes, they did.
Just an amazing stretch. Vince, the other thing that was interesting about your career is that you were here for the transformation of this franchise, the end of Lindy Infante into Mike Holmgren, Ron Wolf. What changed here? What did you notice that year you were here?
It was a big change because Coach Holmgren came from the San Francisco Bill Walsh type of system. And with Coach Infante was an old school coach. We were in pads and we hit and we practiced hard, practiced long. We were in pads all season. So when Coach Holmgren came, the difference was we weren't hitting as much during the season. We would during training camp. Training camp was still the same, 6 or 7 weeks, however long it was. But we were only in pads one practice, regardless of what week we were in. We have pads on in the morning. We were in shorts and helmets in the afternoon. So our bodies were a little bit fresher. So it was that was the biggest difference just that we were a little bit fresher going into games, because I think the NFL at that time was in that transition of not, being in pass hitting and pounding all the time as they did in old school.
Vince, could you sense around the building, management, whatever, the team itself, that something was changing here, that this was becoming, could you foresee what became?
I couldn't foresee, but I could see that things were heading in a different direction. That season in '92, where we changed, it reminded me of the '89 season, my rookie year, because we had a team. We weren't expected to do a whole lot, but we won a lot. Towards the end of the season, we were getting better and better as the season went on. So I could see that there's a progress where we were going to be heading in the right direction.
When you take a look at your career, you played Tampa, Carolina, Indianapolis after leaving Green Bay. What do you give me a feel for the different organizations you played for? It's kind of interesting. Where does Green Bay stack up with all those others?
I mean, it's not even close, and I don't say that just because I'm here interviewing with you, because, I was in, 3 other organizations, but this is by far the best run organization. It was a lot more family-like, from the front office down. Bob Harlan, when he was the president here, I use him as an example. He treated the cleaning person the same as he did the star player or the the vice president or the general manager. He was head and above, shoulders above anybody else as far as treating your employees the way you want to be treated. He did a great job of trickling down that leadership.
You played, you mentioned, at Ohio State and Green Bay, two legendary football places to play. What's that been like for you?
Well, I mean, I can walk around with an Ohio State jacket on or a Green Bay jacket on and feel proud, because I know that, this is Titletown. I've had an argument with a friend of mine the other day back home about, Green Bay being the winningest. It's got the most championships than any other team. We said, well, they don't have the most Super Bowls. I said, but that doesn't mean anything. They got the most championships. Just because that doesn't mean football didn't start when the Super Bowl era started. That means, you want to say that means those guys before the Super Bowl era are not Hall of Famers then. But this is the greatest tradition. And I tell people all the time, if you're a football fan or a sports fan in general, you must make a trip to Lambeau Field to come here and see what it's like to be in this building and to be in this city.
Vince even returned to Green Bay, serving the organization in a couple of different capacities.
Well, it was very fortunate to get hired back. In '99, I retired in '96, my last season, I retired. And then '99, I was going through that period of trying to figure out what it was I wanted to do after football. And I got a call from Reggie McKenzie, who was the pro scout here. And he asked me if I was interested in coming up to get interviewed for a scouting position. I was like, yeah, sure, definitely. So I drove up, and I met with him, met with Ron Wolf. And they had me sit down, watch some film, had me write reports on a few players, and then the next day they offered me the job, and without hesitation I took it.
But you also were a strength coach here too, right?
Yes.
How did that happen?
After Ron retired, Mike Sherman became the general manager, and he asked me to move to the weight room because they were looking for another strength coach. And because of my rapport with the players, I had some players that I had played with or played against were still here, and they're later in their career. And he asked me if I wanted to move to the weight room, and so I moved to the weight room, and I was strength coach for 4 years there.
Vince Workman followed in the footsteps of another great Ohio State runner before him almost 2 decades earlier, the late John Brockington. While Vince's footprint may not be as large as Brock's, now you know, without his 4th down conversion, shoelaces untied and all, there's no magic or replay in that famous 1989 victory over the Bears.